Hello, everybody. I am trying to see, can I be heard on YouTube? Um, just testing it. I am trying to see, okay, so I can be heard. Welcome to another episode of the Sunday show. Hopefully everybody had a good past week and will have a good this week. You know how we start this off. There are exactly 95 days until the NFL season starts. Be sure to know that. You know, if you've watched this show, I count down every time, every week I come on here and I tell you how many weeks because it's 95 days before the season starts. It's getting closer. And hopefully it'll be here sooner than I think. I had my blanket on because it is 85 degrees outside and I have my air conditioner on and it's a little chilly, but I'm not going to turn my air conditioner on off because it's 85 degrees outside and I can't stand heat. So you just going to have to see me with this on today. Get that out the way. Um, so there's that. So let's get some bills paid here. Subscribe to the channel. We are still stuck at 423. We are still 77 subscribers short of 500. I can't believe we're almost close to 500. Guys, only you can make that happen. Hit that, destroy that, obliterate that subscribe button. Subscribing is literally free, doesn't cost you a thing. So please hit that subscribe button. You can support me on Patreon. Patreon support starts at $2 per month. That helps me to get better lights. Let me go. I'm gonna switch this around. Yeah. Helps me to get better lighting, better equipment, to put myself in a position where I can start broadcasting this podcast on my website. So please consider your monthly support of $2. I would greatly appreciate it. And last, I'm asking is that you all, if you can find it in your hearts, to contribute to the First Baptist Church North Drama Camp. This year, I'm heading that up. We'll be ending it on. We'll be starting it, if I can speak. We'll be starting it June the 20th, which means it's 13 days away. We'll end with a production. Our costs are around $3,500. So if you could spare $5, $10, $2, $3, $4, that would be so helpful to help us to empower inner city youth, to help build confidence, help them express their faith, etc. I would greatly appreciate that. So we will be having a guest come on closer to the 7:30 hour. So we're going to be talking a whole lot of Indiana news today because my state is not looking good. Our governor has declared June as Nuclear Family Month. Our lieutenant governor said that the religion of Islam is a demonic religion. The mayor of Carmel tries to blame an increase of crime on residents in a whole different city. The Chicago Bears are going to build their new stadium in Hammond, and I might probably won't talk about the situation in Fort Wayne and how that's. Oh no, I won't. I will definitely talk about the Democrats having their caucus to select their candidate for Secretary of State because I think that's important because I have a whole bunch of questions. So just we'll get to that later. So right now I'm going to talk about Trump walking out on an interview. So Trump um walked out on an interview, which well, let me just read it first, and then I'm going to come back with my thoughts. And I'm not going to do shared screens. So this aired today. Um, so U.S. and this is from the BBC. No, I don't want to use the BBC. Um, no, yeah, I do because all the other ones there anyway. So U.S. President Donald Trump abruptly walked out of an interview with NBC after being repeatedly challenged on several claims by the show's presenter, Kristen Welker. During the interview, which aired on Sunday's Meet the Press, the president claimed that both the current primary elections in California and the 2020 presidential election were rigged. When pressed for evidence on the California's vote by Welker, he said, all I'll have to do is look and I will listen. After the presenter replied, that's not evidence, Trump accused the media of being crooked before ending the interview. Sorry, let's call it quits because I have had enough. That's what he said. The president has had a fraught relationship with traditional media outlets, often accusing them of being biased against him. The interview set in a barn, and that's not what I'm not misreading that. The interview set at a barn as Trump appealed. If I could read, the interview set in a barn as Trump appeared at an event with farmers in Wisconsin was delayed repeatedly due to technical difficulties and rain hitting the metal roof. NBC reported that he walked out 50 minutes after sitting down for it on Friday. Much of the interview involved Welker's questioning Trump over the conflict with Iran, with him insisting that the U.S. needed to act to stop Iran from getting nuclear weapons and that it should not be an endless war. We are there for a few months. The threat is largely over. Yeah, okay, ask Iran that. Around 6 minutes before he left the set, the pair discussed the Anti Weaponization Fund, or as I call it, reparations for white people, a now dropped idea plan that would have created $1.8 billion fund to compensate individuals who claimed that they were unfairly targeted or investigated by the government. The plan grew strong criticism from Democrats and some Republicans who argued it would result in payments to people who were prosecuted over the U.S. Capitol riot January 6, 2021. I can't believe it's been 5 years. Trump turned to the California primary elections where votes are still being counted to determine which two candidates in a series of races, including the governor of the state, will be on the ballot in November's midterm elections. He said that the results had not been called after 4 days, adding, they've been cheating on the election. And then, of course, Welker asked the question. I would have asked, do you have any evidence to support that? No, of course he doesn't, but said, all I have to do is look and I will listen. The president replied, but that's not evidence. She interjected. And it goes on and on and on and on and on. And there's a couple of points here that I want to talk about. And I want to make sure that I'm saying this in a way that makes sense. So, first, the 1776 or plan, which I call again um, reparations for white people. It was never his intention to give that money to those people. But let's keep it a buck, right? This is another distraction. This is to distract from how badly the Iran war is going. We should never be in the war. We should have never done anything. We should have just minded our own business. But no, this was just let's distract from the fact that we're losing. That's what that was. In terms of the California elections, who tells him these things? Who sits there? Like, does he come up with these things on his own, or does he just sit here and like get it from someone? Is somebody telling him these things? I mean, this is this. Oh my goodness! Part of me wants to say, well, somebody's feeding him bad information, but there's a bigger part of me that thinks, oh, this man is coming up with this on his own. He can't be this stupid. I'm trying to find a clip, so I can share it. And let's see. That's really short. I'm trying to find at least a short one. Oh, this is a good one. Okay. So US Today has, I want to show you guys the clip. Okay, let's see. Okay, sorry guys. And put your comments in there. I know right now, not a whole lot of people are watching. So, tell your friends, tell your neighbors, tell everybody you know that the show is on.
A country can never be great with a dishonest.
Listen, we traveled all the way to Wisconsin for this interview.
They just walk out and I was like,
Your elections in this country, we're like a third world country. Your elections are crooked.
I should
and
call
you're
him
crooked. And
I
Meet
was
the
like,
Press
look at
is
here,
crooked.
dummy. I'd be like, look, she did better than me. She called him sir, 'cause I sure wouldn't. I'd be like, look here, stupid. There's no evidence of what you're saying. You give me evidence, like legitimate evidence, then we'll listen to you. But until then, you're stupid. You're stupid. Your administration is stupid. And once your party doesn't have control, you'll be impeached. Thank you and have a good day. That's the way I would have did. Of course, I would never get a chance to interview the president because I would come. That's the way I would come. I don't understand. I guess I do understand that they want access. You think they should cover this guy? Just like don't cover White House briefings, don't cover anything. Just let us be free, right? Just don't cover anything. But I guess having access to the White House is so much more important than to hear. When he opens his mouth, he's lying. Every time he opens his mouth, he's just lying. And you're just sitting there just talking about um um that I lost my train of thought there. Um but every time he talks, he's lying. Like, why would you waste your time going to the White House, sit in the press room, going through security checks just to hear him lie? Like, unless unless you're talking about, I don't know, what even I wouldn't there's no reason. And if you are gonna go, um, ask some decent questions. Start asking why we're losing the war in Iran. Why are we there in the first place? Why is it okay for Iran not to have weapons, but it's okay for the US to have nuclear weapons? Ask those type of questions. Stop with this, Mr. And first of all, I wouldn't even address him as president. It just wouldn't happen. Oh, I wish I could go um in the press room just for one just for one day because I would immediately be kicked out. Immediately I would be kicked out. Um I see Theus is in the building. Hit the like, folks. Just hit that like button, please. Um but he just got up and was like, oh, I can't. Like, is that what he's gonna do every time that he is questioned? And every time, oh, they sure wouldn't, because I'd be like, why you fat? Why you ugly? Why? Why? And I'm not talking about his status. You call somebody else. I'm talking about his attitude. Ugly attitude. Like, why you lie all the time? That literally would be my question. If I had just one question, I just like, why you lie all the time? Now, they're not gonna never let me ask a single question. Not gonna happen. Because trust and believe. My question would be, why you always lying? Every time you just lying, you just lie. Every time you open up your mouth, you just lying. Did you see how he just got up like, oh, I got to interview, I can't take any more of this. If you want to get Trump on the ropes, that's what you need to do. So no, I don't like legacy media, but I think that interview and she wasn't asking like that difficult of a question. He said the California elections were rigged. She said, hey, do you have evidence of this? And he just gets up and walks out. No proof, no nothing. Just gets to make accusations. Dude, you hold the office of president of the United States, whether we like it or not. I don't particularly like it, but you are the title holder. You hold that title. When you make an accusation, somebody in the press should be questioning you about where did you get this from. We don't just accept your word just because you're saying it. That's not how it works. And matter of fact, it should work that way for everybody. So I got Scott in here. He's backstage. So I'm gonna bring him on because I'm gonna switch topics here. Thank you, Scott, for coming in.
Hey, Tracy, thanks for having me.
Um, I got to get this one topic in before, because I was talking about something totally different before you came in. To Trump, he is lying. He will create reality so nothing he says is false. He literally says anything. Like, you see his clouds of stuff. Those aren't clouds. Those are, he'd be that one person that would call afros hair pillows. You know what they're called? Afro. That's what they're called. Oh my gosh. Okay, so now that Scott's in here, we're going to talk about Indiana news. And boy, Indiana never disappoints me. Whenever I think, oh, we'll just slide under and won't nobody care about anything else, and I got to start off with this. You and me are both football fans. I got to start off with the Chicago Bears building a new stadium in Hammond, Indiana.
Well, first of all, Tracy, again, thanks for having me. I always love being here with you. And folks know I am a Bears fan, but
Yes, that's right.
I am also an Indiana taxpayer, and I don't think this is a great idea. Number one, the Bears belong in Chicago, playing outdoors in the weather like real men. Okay, like I'm not trying to do that, real men, real women kind of stuff that they do on the right. If there is one place you can do that, is football, and football should be played outside.
Women don't play football. There's no
it should be played
WNFL.
outside in the elements, not under a dome. Domes are for the Vikings and the Lions. It is weak sauce. We do not tolerate that sort of stuff here.
Oh, and the Rams.
That's it. Oh, and yeah, the Rams, they're in LA. They don't even need a dome. It is beautiful out there all the time. Anyway, I digress. But stadiums, publicly subsidized stadiums, are never a good idea. They never pay off. The benefits always accrue to the team owners and never to the public. They say, oh, well, it's going to generate economic activity. Maybe some people are going to go to the bars and restaurants around the stadium and whatnot. There's no bars and restaurants in Wolf Lake in Hammond. They're going to have to, they're assuming a whole development is going to go up around this. But if you look at some of these other like suburban stadium developments, people go in, they go to the parking lot, they bring their own food, they tailgate, they go inside, they pay for $12 beers, of which all of the profits accrue to the ownership. And then they get home, they get in their car, they go home and leave. They don't stay and they don't spend money.
And you're assuming something else. You're assuming that the tickets are affordable.
You can't afford to go to NFL games. Listen.
Well, let me tell you, when San Francisco, the greatest football team there was and ever will be, San Francisco 49ers came to Lucas Oil, I paid almost $200 and my seat was way up. I mean, I was way up in the back, like, because I was like, I want to sit down close. So I was like, oh, okay, I'll see how much. That ticket was $500. All right, oh, wait a minute. No, let me just get this 200. And that was a cheap seat. So you're assuming that people can afford to go to the game. I'm like, who can afford to go to the game?
Regular people cannot afford go to the games, but regular people wind up paying for these stadiums, of which all the benefits go to just a small number of people. Listen, I love the Chicago Bears. I did my 6th grade research paper on Papa Bear George Halas. This is an abomination. I'm not in favor of it. And it's not a done deal. It's not a done deal. I know the Illinois legislature adjourned the other day without giving the Bears a tax benefit laden deal. We'll see. They still have time to put something together. Until I see shovels go into the ground, I'm not calling this thing a done deal. And listen, Tracy, you're a Niners fan. I'm a Bears fan. I hate to say this, the words that are about to come out of my mouth. Jerry Jones, who paid for his own stadium.
He sure did. He paid for it all. I'm like,
but hurts me. That's the way it should be done. I hate to give that man props.
And another team, the Denver Broncos, they're paying for their own stadium. And here's the team I really can't stand, the Green Bay Packers.
Listen, Tracy.
I can say, I'm like,
they are my arch rivals. They are my arch rivals. As a Bears fan, I am supposed to hate the Packers, But number one, I got much respect for the Packers as historical rivals. You know, we've gone back and forth over the years. It is a grudging, loving respect, very sportsmanlike. They play outdoors on the frozen tundra of Lambeau Field.
Yes.
And they are publicly owned. They do not have a billionaire owner. They are owned by the public. They are the most socialist of all the NFL teams. In fact, they are the only one like that. They are grandfathered in. No other team can have such a benefit.
And you know why the NFL banned it? I wonder why. I mean, I'm just sitting here thinking, I hope the city of Chicago tells them to go build in Hammond. And then here's what I hope happens. I hope they sue the Bears, keep the name, get another Chicago Bears team, and let them be called the Hammond, whatever it is they want to be called. Because I'm so sick of these NFL teams, and the Niners did it too when they built, for some reason, they tore down Candlestick. I still can't I'm still like, why did you tear down Candlestick? Candlestick holds such a special place in my heart, but they tore it down, got all that money from taxpayers. For what reason? I don't understand it. And here's the other thing I want to ask people from Indiana to do. Y'all, they're not going to be called the Hammond Bears. They're not going to be called the Hammond Bears. I just want to say this just because I'm like, y'all, this is not going to happen. But, like, what are you doing?
It's the same. It is the same as the New York Giants and the New York Jets. They play in New Jersey. They're not calling themselves the New Jersey Giants.
Yeah, the New Jersey Jets. No, Diaz hates football. He has the perfect solution. Cancel the league. Turn stadiums into something. Diaz, let me tell you something. I hate, I keep telling you this. Football's not going nowhere. It's not going nowhere. It's the most profitable sport in the United States of America. I know worldwide you got soccer, blah, blah, blah. In this country, the NFL is king. It's going to continue to be the king. It's always going to be the king. I don't know what else to tell you, but I get where you're going.
Let them have golf. Golf courses are an abomination. Let's turn the golf courses into something else first. Don't come for the football stadiums just yet. Play in the old ones, though. Fix them up. But, yeah, golf courses. Now, there's an improper use of resources.
But it's like they're billionaires. And like you said, say whatever you want about Jerry Jones. And trust me, I think he's one of the worst owners in the league. But dang on it, he paid for that stadium. Like he said, okay, here you go.
Best owner in the league. Terrible person.
I know. I'm like, especially after that whole civil rights thing. Like, dude, you was at the marches. You was like, your picture was right there where it said whites only. That was you. That was definitely you. I didn't know you standing right next to the sign. Oh, he's going to start talking about CTE. But golf only causes boredom, not CTE. It's danger in all sports. I'm not going to stop watching football. I'm not going to stop. I'm never going to stop. Blah, blah, and blah, blah.
Golf takes up a lot of land for a rich person's playground, and it's also an environmental disaster. All the chemicals they pour into the courses that winds up going into the water streams. Yeah.
And think about this in this way. So, one, why can't they just make the repairs to Soldier Field? It's literally right there. Soldier Field is one of the most historic stadiums in the NFL because Arrowhead is gone. Arrowhead, Kansas, I actually read this and I forgot. Kansas City is moving from Kansas City, Missouri to Kansas City, Kansas.
It's the exact same thing as here. Kansas gave them a huge tax deal to move across.
Huge.
At least they ain't got to move, change their name. They're still in the Kansas City.
They don't have to change their name. They'll still be Kansas City. But I wonder why people in Chicago, from what I'm reading, they're very angry. And I'm like, no, you should be happy that your legislators are saying, no, not us and not on our dime, because that's going to be coming out of your pocket. I was reading something, and maybe you could talk about this at list. people are saying this could lead to Brahms' reelection. And I'm like, no, it's not going to lead to his reelection.
No,
If it
listen,
goes through, because there's
Northwest Indiana largely goes for Democrats, always anyway. This was a bipartisan effort to get this stadium deal across the line. I don't remember what the exact numbers were in the state house and the state senate, but it had bipartisan support. Sure, Braun puts his name on it at the end, but by and large, Democrats and Republicans alike supported this stadium deal. Democrats because organized labor really wants this thing, and
Yep.
The unions are big up, especially up in Northwest Indiana. Democratic Mayor Tom McDermott was a big champion of this thing there. Again, during the construction, sure, those are a lot of good union jobs. Once this thing is built, you're going to have some private corporation come in there, run the concessions, run the parking. Those aren't going to be good jobs. Those are going to be minimum wage, service sector jobs that are going to employ people on game days, which is 17
weeks.
10 dates a year.
Yeah,
We've only got the home games, right?
Because there's only 8. Well, if you're not playing overseas.
Right.
Because remember, that could count. So you may, on a good year, you may have 8 home games the whole year.
You get 8. You maybe get a couple preseason games, maybe. So and then again, this is going to be an indoor facility. They say, let me play devil's advocate for a minute. They're going to say, oh, it can host other things. Maybe it can host Final Fours. It can host NCAA tournament. It can host concerts. So again, it's not just going to be for the Bears, but the Bears are going to take their cut of those other events. And even with all of that other stuff going on, this thing is never going to pay for itself.
Did you say they're going to play indoors?
This thing is going to be a dome, Tracy. It is an abomination.
Okay, Chicago, y'all got to say no to this foolishness. Don't even do it. Don't do it. That is oh my gosh, I hate indoor. Football, like you said, football. The game that I go fanatical over has no business on an AstroTurf. They do know that leads to more injuries, right? They do know this. Like, you think they would know? Like, I know it. Oh my gosh. I did not get the dome part of it until you just said it. I'm like, wait a minute.
That's the whole reason they want to build a new stadium is they want a dome. They want to be able to host Super Bowls. They want to be able to host other events and accrue the benefits of that.
At Soldier Field, like old Soldier Field would be so much of a better Super Bowl.
They did one. Boy, it's been several years at this point, but when the Giants and Jets first built their new stadium, MetLife in New Jersey, they got an outdoor February Super Bowl.
Yeah, Levi State. Well, that's in California, so it's never going to snow.
Listen, the climate's changing. Who knows?
But I'm like, why did I not know that? Yeah, I think that's what I think. And I said it before, and I'm gonna sound like a record player tonight because everything is making me repeat it because I can't believe the foolishness I'm hearing out of this. I think the Chicago legislators should, if they end up moving to Hammond, sue the Bears. Do just like what Cleveland did. Yeah, remember this? You remember this? The Cleveland Browns sued them and said, no, we keep the name. So they keep the name and make them be called something else. You're not gonna sit here because can't even imagine the Bears playing any other place. I know Dallas plays in Arlington, San Francisco plays in San Madre, but it's like Green Bay plays in Green Bay. Chicago plays in Chicago. What?
Yeah, I don't mind honestly, if the Bears were going to relocate to Hammond and if they wanted to build a nice outdoor stadium there, but I just as a Hoosier taxpayer, I don't think we should be paying for it when these families that own these NFL teams are billionaires. Build your own stadium.
And build it wherever you want. But I think sue for the name. Sue for the name. Make it be called something else. And then we can all be sitting there like, see, it all started. Like if you start talking about when the Colts moved to Indianapolis, I was 10 years old. Oh my gosh, the Colts have been in Indianapolis that whole time. I can't imagine the Colts playing in Carmel. No, you're called the Indianapolis Colts. Indianapolis is in your name.
Don't get many ideas, Tracy.
No, because they're too busy blaming us for crime, which is what I'm going to get to here in a moment. But I'm like, huh? Yeah, so keep the name, make them play for something else, and then we can expand the league. But, oh my gosh. Now, wait a minute. This is the dreaded frozen sky fluff happens in Indiana. Get the dome. Yes, but you know, for a football fan, when I see football played in the snow, I'm paying attention. I don't care who it is. I'm like, this is football. Not this AstroTurf. Don't touch the quarterback. You can't tackle him. No, snow. And I'm talking about -5, -15. I'm talking about some cold weather. I'm talking about where they got to get heaters on the sidelines. That's when football is football, and we losing that, and I don't like it.
Yeah, listen, they're building an outdoor stadium in Buffalo, Tracy. If they can build an outdoor stadium in Buffalo, they can put one in Chicago.
And Buffalo,
part of the
know
appeal.
It snows some. Even I was going to call it Shea Stadium. What's the place where the Jets and Giants play?
MetLife.
Yeah, MetLife. I'm like, oh, Shea Stadium. You can tell I'm old, everybody. I said Shea Stadium.
They used to. The Jets used to play in Shea Stadium. The Giants were there for a couple years because they used to play in Yankee Stadium. But then they did the renovation, and that was around the time that the original Meadowlands complex was built in the 70s. Yeah.
Yeah, that was. But I said Shea Stadium. I went back to the 60s. I went way back. Like, okay, I have a complaint. I got a complaint about the Secretary of State's race.
Oh, you and me both, Tracy.
I think I have a different complaint than you do. So I'm going to let you go with yours first. And then I'm going to go with mine second because I'm going to take a little bit of a deviant.
Okay.
Where you're going to, where you think I'm going to go.
All right. Well, listen, it is no, it should be no surprise to anybody. I've been on the record that I was a big supporter of Blythe Potter for Secretary of State. And I would say when she first announced, over a year ago, I don't think anybody at that time would have thought it would have been as close as it was. I was at the convention yesterday and she got just about 40% of the vote to Mr. By's 60%. He of the legacy family name, he of the $2+ million in fundraising, much of which came from questionable sources. I think just by getting 40%, that is a victory for Blythe Potter in and of itself. Now, obviously, I'm super disappointed, and I think if this convention fight would have been held on a fair playing field, we, the progressive part of the portion of the Democratic Party, would have won this thing. But let's just say thumbs were on scales in many places throughout the state.
And for you all that don't know that live outside of Indiana, Indiana is one of several states that the Secretary of State's office is not picked by the general public. The Democratic Party and the Republican Party both pick their candidates at their conventions. The Republican Party will have their convention, I believe, June 20th.
Yeah, about 2 weeks from yesterday. Yep.
Yeah, 2 weeks from yesterday, they will have theirs. So they'll pick their candidate, and the Democrats will pick theirs. But here's where I'm going to say what I'm going to say. And I don't vote Democrat. I have no intention of voting Democrat in the general. I don't like the Democrat Party. If the Democratic Party disappeared tomorrow, I'd be so happy. Y'all need to suck it up, Buttercup. The man won the nomination. If you are vote blue, no matter who, because this is what I'm hearing, all I'm hearing is it's going to be y'all's all responsibility to support. He is the candidate. That's it. You don't get a do-over. You don't get to have another chance to get there. Now, do you like the results? No. Do you think he got money from MAGA? Probably. But he's the nominee. I don't know what else. Like, who else are you going to vote for? There is an independent running who I hope to get on the Tracy show. She's libertarian, I believe.
Tracy Shillings, the libertarian, yes, is
yes.
In this race, yeah.
So unless you're going to vote for her, but do you really think in a general election that most people are going to sit here, they're going to see that D, because they're not going to probably vote. Well, I'm going to talk about Indianapolis. I'm not going to talk about the rest of the state. Indianapolis is the city I live in. They're going to just look at that D and say, that's it. So I say, I've always said, hey, this is better than the alternative. You could have, I know his name. I want to say Morales, and that's not his name.
Yeah, that's right.
That is. You could vote for the current guy, which who gonna do that? Who's gonna actually sit there and vote for that guy? You could have 4 more years of that. And I get that people are upset about it because people are just like losing it. And I'm like, but these are the same people, not you, that are always telling me, hey, you gotta vote blue no matter who. Well, he's a no matter who. So suck it up, Buttercup. There you go.
Okay, a lot there, Tracy, and I guess we'll start with this. Listen, if this was just a two-way race, Democrat, Republican, the way I do the whole rest of the ballot, it's like, okay, I guess I'm going to pick the lesser of two evils. I'm going to vote for the Democrat. This isn't a two-way race. This is like a 4-way race, and I'll get to that in just a second.
Yeah, because I forgot about Ballard.
We're gonna come to Mr. Ballard, but I want to start on the Republican side first because you mentioned Diego Morales and their convention here in 2 weeks. They've got their own contested convention. Now you've got the Knox County Republican Dave Shelton, who had entered that race a long time ago. Diego Morales, little Diego, is openly corrupt. He has purchased luxury vehicles on the taxpayer dime. He has hired family members. He has given money to political allies. He's always jet setting, going to India, going to Hungary. What is he even doing? Does he work for Hoosiers or does he work for CPAC? Regardless, they're going to dump him. They are going to throw him overboard.
You think he's going to lose?
I absolutely think he's going to lose. But he's not going to lose to Dave Shelton. Shelton is a kind of a moderate, Republican. And whenever you describe a Republican as moderate, that word's doing a whole lot of work. But they've also just recently had a guy named Max Engling enter this race, and Max Engling is a staffer for super MAGA Republican Senator Jim Banks. And all of the MAGA party leadership is lining up behind him. He is going to win that race. And he is terrible, and he is far right, he is MAGA, but he doesn't have a history. He doesn't have Diego's baggage. He doesn't have that corruption baggage. Well, you know who does have corruption baggage? Bo Bai. Because his daddy, when he was a senator, he helped kill the public option on Obamacare,
sure did.
right? While his wife was sitting on the board at Anthem, his family stood to profit from making sure the private insurance industry continued and was handsomely rewarded. He worked in his last year in the Senate to get sweetheart regulatory breaks for the oil industry, went on to serve on the board at Marathon. He worked in his last year in the Senate to maintain the private equity loophole, so private equity managers pay a lower tax rate than everybody else. What has Evan Bayh been doing for the last 16 years? Working for private equity, and not just any private equity company, but Apollo Global Management, which was run by Leon Black. And Leon Black appears in the Epstein files a whole mess of times, like second to only, I don't know, Donald Trump. And then the guy who succeeded Leon Black at Apollo is named Mark Rowan. And Mark Rowan is on Trump's Board of Peace. Mark Rowan wrote Trump's University Compact, taking away academic freedom from a lot of public universities. Mark Rowan donated a lot of money to Bo Bayh. So, Bo,
the son or the because when you said Bo, I'm like, because they're all three Birch. The daddy was Birch, the son was Birch. Like, so they all go by different.
The granddaddy was Birch. The original Senator Birch Bayh was Birch Bayh Jr. Evan Bayh is Birch Evans Bayh the third, and Bo is the fourth.
The fourth.
And listen, I don't know if you ever seen that movie Multiplicity, Tracy. I'm throwing this one way back. This is the 1990s. That was a Michael Keaton joint, and they made a clone of a clone of a clone. And by the time you get to about the third or fourth clone, it's defective and not very bright. So we'll see. We'll see. I am not a fan. I think the Democrats, by nominating Bo Bayh, now they have the pro-corruption candidate in this race. And as such, I won't vote for him. That ain't sour grapes. That is a strategic choice. If this was a two-person race, yeah, I'd probably have to swallow hard the same way I swallowed hard and voted for Hillary Clinton and Kamala Harris in their two elections, right? I still voted blue. In this race, I don't think former Republican Indianapolis Mayor Greg Ballard, now running as an independent under something called the Lincoln Party banner. He still needs signatures, by the way, folks. Listen, if you like democracy, I think you should sign that form. We want as many choices as possible, even if you don't agree with the guy. I don't think he and Bo Bayh would administer that office much differently. The far-right Republican is going to do far-right Republican stuff. Bayh and Ballard are probably going to administer that office the same way. But voting for one of them is a 4-year placeholder. Voting for the other one feels like putting my stamp of approval on the same bought and paid for corrupt Democratic establishment for the next 35 to 40 years in Indiana, and I'm not for that.
So who would you be leaning more? Now I'm asking, well, who would you be leaning more towards? Would it be the Libertarian candidate? Would it be...
No, if Ballard had the signatures and this race was held tomorrow, I would vote for Ballard because he has a legitimate shot at winning. The polling I've seen has, Morales still at this point, and Bayh and Ballard all pulling in the 20s. Mind you, there's still a lot of undecideds that they're out there at this point. But Ballard, with his name recognition, especially in central Indiana and his ability to raise funds, I think has a legitimate shot as a viable third-party candidate. Libertarians, bless their heart, they don't. Sorry.
Yeah, because I'm like, times are desperate when I start thinking, well, maybe I should vote for the because let's see, the Secretary of State race, if I'm being 100% honest, I really didn't pay attention to it because I'm like, well, what does a Secretary of State candidate do? Right? They pretty much ensure elections. That's pretty much their own. That's pretty much what they do. I mean, that's their main job. That's their main thing. So I guess I didn't see the difference between, and I'm not a delegate of the Democrats at all, so I wouldn't be in the voting process. Maybe there needs to be a discussion of taking that away from the convention and letting the public have some sort of say in who the nominee is, because that to me seems counteractive. I'm like, you're telling people, oh, we're for democracy. No, what we're going to do is we're going to just choose who you vote for, and you vote for this person.
I agree, Tracy. That's actually in the Indiana Constitution, that the major parties choose their candidates for Secretary of State and Treasurer and Comptroller at their party conventions. I
Right.
don't know why. I don't know why the party rules couldn't be such that we nominate ours in the primary. Maybe that's something that needs to be looked at. But I definitely think, listen, among with many changes that need to be made to the Indiana state constitution, like having, I don't know, independent redistricting commission and fairly drawn districts, and the ability for citizens to
Right.
have initiatives and put ballot measures on the on the November ticket. Like, I think those offices should be held in the primary, and I think primaries should be wide open like they do it in California. But that's a whole other thing.
Yeah, and I'm looking in background at Greg Ballard's site. Again, where's the platform? I hate this when candidates say they got that donate button all like right there, and then you got to go
Oh,
all the way down.
listen. To your point, Tracy, the Secretary of State is a largely administrative job.
It's administrative, but still,
it's not supposed to be a political job. Diego Morales has made it a political job, and because
still
they
you
administer
wanna,
elections, you've got that component where he's been working with Trump to turn over the public voter rolls. I don't think Ballard or Bai would do that and cooperate with the Trump administration in that way. I think they would largely administer the Secretary of State's office fairly and impartially for either of them. But, again, back to what I said, Ballard's going to be there for 4 years. He doesn't have any ambitions for higher office. He's an older man. Bo Bai, if he backs into this win in a three-way race in November, Indiana Democrats are going to be like, oh, our savior, and they're going to put him at the top of the ticket for the next 30 years. I don't even want to see.
He's the same age as his father was when he became governor of Indiana.
He is running the same playbook as his daddy to a T.
Yeah, and I'm just like, because I'm like, well, and maybe, and I know you said it's in the Indiana Constitution, but constitutions can be changed.
It's difficult, but yes.
It's difficult, but it can happen. But I'm looking at Ballard's site, and what I like about it, there's not a whole bunch of like, like he's calling for something. Yeah, details. That's what I'm looking for. He's calling for something that I want, which I wish our Secretary of State would do, but I don't know how well this would go. He's calling for a statewide voter guide for every Hoosier. I don't know if we have one of those or not.
We don't. That was Blythe Potter's primary campaign plank. That was one of the things she wanted to do. Now, listen, it's not like her idea. They have this in lots of other states, but Ballard is definitely wanting to do that similarly to her. That's something I like.
Yeah, and he's got expanding opportunities for independent leadership. But here's what I don't see, and I don't think I'm going to see it. Ballot access laws. Nobody thinks about changing these. I think he's going to have an easier time when Jill Stein got 50,000 signatures and got hers mostly thrown away because they knew the campaign couldn't afford to sue. His probably can. If they want to act silly, he can take it to court and go those ways. But some Secretary of State has to start addressing Indiana's ballot access because it is ridiculously, we're making it something that should be easy, something that should be open to all Hoosiers that want to run for office. We're just doing the most. And I'm going to just borrow language from my niece and nephew. We're just doing the most for no reason.
And I would have to look into this. I don't know the exact details of it, but I believe the ballot access thresholds by which a new party especially needs to gain a certain number of signatures to get on the ballot and maintain ballot access. I think those are set by the state legislature. I don't think the Secretary of State sets those rules. They just have to follow them and maintain
and enforce them. But they can advocate for them, right? They can say, hey,
yes,
we need to do this. They could testify in front of a commission or be like, hey, this is what we need to do. Like again, this is outside my wheelhouse because I normally follow national politics. I don't really get involved in state. But I'm like, it takes too much. It takes too much for a regular citizen, and I'm talking about one that doesn't have the money, doesn't have the volunteers. I just had on Benjamin, and he was talking about how many signatures he was getting or how many he needed. And I'm like, it shouldn't be that hard. He should just say he wants to be a candidate, fill out the form, he's on the ballot. End of story.
And, I don't know exactly what the number of signatures, you're talking about Ben Davis in District 13, I believe.
Yes, Benjamin Davis,
yeah,
yes.
it needed to procure, but it's something like 2% of the number in your district in any given year. Like the number for him to get on the ballot's not nearly as much as it is to like gain party line access. Like I know the Socialist Party into Indiana, huge uphill battle to be recognized as an official party, and that's what Mr. Ballard's going through right now to get this Lincoln Party, they're calling it, recognized as an official party in Indiana. You need to get 2% of the number of votes in like the last Secretary of State's race. So for Ballard to get on the ballot, I think it's close to 40,000 signatures. You got to collect like 3 times that because they're going to get challenged.
Yeah, that's why I was on his site. He says 37,000 because I remember when I was working with the Cornel West campaign, and our exact number, I will never forget this number as long as I ever will live. 37,963 signatures is what we needed. We didn't get anywhere close to that. But I'm like, I wish the discussion could take place. And I didn't see Blythe talk about it. I didn't see Bai talk about it. I haven't seen the Libertarian candidate talk about it, and I haven't seen Ballard talk about it. I'm like,
it's tricky, especially for the major parties. I think that as a reluctant Democrat, Tracy, the one thing I want to see a Democrat do is be like, I want to use the Democratic Party to break up the Democratic Party and the Republican Party. I think we should have 5, 6, 8 parties that can compete in state elections. I hate the 2-party system. I think ranked choice voting would help a lot with that. Our state legislature just banned ranked choice voting.
Yeah, we just banned it. I gotta answer Theus's question. So Theus is saying if you can't get 2 to 5% of your district's vote, why are you running? You are remarkable. Here comes the problem. If you live in a big old county called, I don't know, Marion County, that has 1 million people, you have to get 20,000 signatures. I think that's about right. 2%. No, 10,000. Something like you got to get 2%, depending on if you live in a small county. Oh, well, okay. Yes. But if you live in Lake, Allen, Vanderburgh, Monroe, or Marion, maybe Hamilton, but they mostly Republican, maybe Johnson, kind of, sort of. Nah, that's going to depend on what county you talking about.
I will say, to your commenter's point there, complex mind, simple man, if you can't get 2 to 5% of your district to say, I want this person on a ballot, you don't have any chance of winning that race in the first place. I don't know. That seems like a reasonable hoop to jump through, I guess. I don't know. I don't necessarily agree. I think anybody should be able to run for office, but
you should just be able to
having
run.
a party line, there needs to be some sort of
or threshold. You make Democrats and Republicans gather 37,963 signatures. If you're gonna make me do it, okay, then you do it. You first.
Well, once it's done, like the Libertarians have ballot access or a ballot line on every election because they did this years ago. And as long as you maintain a certain threshold in election after election after election, you can have that ballot line going forward.
Yeah, so I guess that's just my point. It's like anybody should be able to run. So now we move on to our great mayor, not our great mayor, the mayor of Carmel, Indiana. Y'all, I don't know what's wrong with these mayors outside Indianapolis. And maybe I'm seeing this in a frame of, okay, I live in the most populous city in the state, the city that brings in the most income in any city in the state of Indiana. So maybe that's the lens I got this from. But I believe she was involved um, in some sort of altercation. I believe it was a carjacking.
I'll be honest, Tracy. I don't know what has been going on up in Carmel with Mayor Sue Finkham
Well,
up there.
let me give you a background. So, I think the mayor of Carmel, she was carjacked. Why she doesn't have security, I don't know. But
Well, you know
let me
what?
make sure.
Honestly, Tracy, look, security is expensive. Being mayor of a town, even the size of Carmel, which is a top 5 populated city in the state of Indiana now, I believe at this point, um, it doesn't pay enough for private security 24/7.
Yeah, so I was exactly right. So, um, the mayor of Carmel, Sue Finkaman, I don't know how to pronounce her name, but she was involved in the carjacking. So, of course, she has to say the thing that I hate mayors do. And Indianapolis has done this. Chicago has done this. When you blame the influx of crime from people coming from other cities to tear your city down, I can't stand this. I cannot. I don't like it because one, she's assuming this. There's no indication of where this person was. I'm sorry she got carjacked. That should not happen to anybody. Nobody. But to blame Indianapolis, you really gonna go with that? You
Well,
really gonna go with that?
it's one of these things that they always use incidents, isolated, singular incidents, to make a point about larger societal issues, and they never want to address the root causes of crime upstream. They just want to point and play politics and make a game out of incidents like these, right?
Instead of, I don't know, crime prevention, providing economic opportunities. Yeah, don't do any of that. Just blame Indianapolis because that just makes so much sense to me. And I haven't even addressed the racial component. I backed away from it because then I started finding myself getting even angry. And I said, nope, you know what? I'm going to back away. I'm going to back away because I don't want to do that. But wait, and we do that. Our governor, when we had um, violent outbursts, oh, it's Chicago. Well, no, the crimes was committed in Indiana. You don't know where they're from. Like,
Well, and listen, whenever, especially suburban white mayors and Republicans and state elected officials, whenever they talk about the cities and urban crime, right? They
they
mean
mean
black.
black people.
They mean black.
They
That's what they're
literally mean
saying.
black
Because
people.
they don't want to say it. But again, these cities exist in states where these white business friendly Republicans set the agenda. They make the rules that govern how people live and how public resources are spent. And if, poverty is the root source of crime, not race. And if
Exactly.
folks are living in poverty, there's going to be crime. It happens in New Mexico. It happens in Alaska. It happens where there are a bunch of white folk. It happens in Oklahoma. Places that are racially homogenous still have crime. Turns out it's the poor people doing it, and that is the economic system we live in.
And I love this quote that she gave. Carmel and other Donut County residents pay the price when repeat offenders in Marion County cycle through the system without accountability. So now all of a sudden she knows who Who? I'm getting mad. I'm getting mad because this type of what I call undercover racism, I just wish he would just say, hey, all y'all black people stay in Indianapolis. Don't come to our city. Don't. I wish he would. I wish he would have went Michael Beckwith, who we're gonna talk about in a minute. Michael Beckwith, because I contend that the state of Indiana has the worst governor in the United States. Nobody can make me not believe that. Nobody can make me say, um, I don't know. I don't think Abbott is as terrible. I don't think DeSantis is as terrible. We're going to start it off with Governor Brom declaring June Nuclear Family Month. Now, I'm going to also tie this in with Beckwith saying that Islam, or no, he said Muslim because he's not smart enough to know there's a difference between Islam and Muslim, but he's not wanting to have that conversation. Saying that he hates them and they're a demonic religion. Let me say it in this way. With everything in my heart, I love the Lord, period. You're never going to get me not to say anything different. However, I don't hold public office. I'm not stupid. I don't even think that way, and I don't hold public office. For you to take, I don't know, don't address Indiana schools. Don't address the fact that taxes are going up. Don't address you just approved a stadium that's going to cost Northwest Indiana or Indiana Hoosiers billions of dollars. Don't talk about any of that. Just declare June Nuclear Family Month. And of course, it's during June, which is Pride Month. If you are against gay marriage, here's a suggestion. Don't date a gay person. That's real simple. I don't know why he did. Like, how did we get how did these two become elected? How? Like, how?
White Christian nationalism. That is what is going on. And, I'll tell you what, Tracy, I have a lot of beef with organized religion, but they certainly are organized. And the churches make up a large base of support for Republicans, particularly certain churches. You got your Southern Baptist, you got the independent charismatic movement. That's where Beckwith comes from. And those places, they get people out, they get them to the polls, they vote, and they vote their values. I think what they value is messed up. To your point there, and it's ironic. We talked about this last week when it happened with Lieutenant Governor Beckwith and his comments about Muslims, and he calls Islam a demonic death cult, and he's worried about Sharia law, right? And the irony is that folks like Beckwith and those far-right Christian nationalists, they want to put in place a system of government that dictates every aspect of your life the same way that far-right Muslims in places like Iran do with Sharia law. It is two sides of the same religious extremism coin, and they hate themselves, and they look in the mirror and they see what's going on over there, and because they hate themselves, they hate Sharia law, right?
Now, and I'm not defending Beckwith's comments. I'm not. He has a right to feel that way. He has every constitutional right to be as wrong as he is. Let me put it this way. He has a right to be wrong, and he's wrong. Can we just say this man ain't Christian? Christians, we need to start calling, this is to, because Scott, you said you're not with organized religion. I happen to be. So we need to start calling this dude out. First of all, I'm not even going to get into the child pedophilia thing this in his congregation. See, I don't even want to, I could go there if I was petty. If I was petty, that's what I would do. This man embodies nothing that Jesus said, nothing that Jesus taught. I don't know what Jesus he's talking about. Like, dude, have you ever heard of, I don't know, the most quoted scripture in the Bible, John 3:16? You can say, you can say, hey, I disagree with the lifestyle. This is not what I believe. But you still serve the 40,000 people that practice Islam in Indiana. You still serve them. That's still your job. If you don't want to serve them, then leave office. Don't hold the office. Go away. Go away. Don't.
And
Oh my gosh.
And you can feel that way, Micah, but like, I don't know, man. Shut your mouth. Keep it to yourself.
Yeah.
You are an elected official. To what your point, Tracy, he is the lieutenant governor of Hoosier Muslims as well, and should not
Like they
say
don't pay
things
taxes.
like these.
They don't do nothing. They don't work. They don't have families. They don't have anything. They what? Like I said, if that's the way you feel, don't run for the office, don't hold the office, go out and start a church with a bunch of pedophiles. Yeah, I got petty. I said I wasn't, but I lied. I just went petty. Do that, but don't do it's a demonic religion. If I thought like that, I would ask for forgiveness. I don't even think like I don't hold any public office. And even I'm like, he said, what how weak does he think Jesus really is? Like, he don't need your help, Micah. He doesn't need you. See, he don't need you, and he doesn't need me. Because he's Jesus. You're not. Nobody cares what you think, Beckwith. Nobody cares.
And
Oh
I
my
don't even
gosh.
think. Listen, these Christian nationalists, Tracy, they call themselves Christian, but I think that's just a brand name because they don't pay any attention to Jesus. They like the angry, vengeful God of the Old Testament. They
They really
like
do.
the fire and brimstone of Revelations. They skip all of the Jesus part.
They just told us. I'm like, but that's not what. I mean, I literally read. I think it's First John chapter 4, verse 20. And as it says, how can you hate? Because he said we should be allowed to hate again. Really? That's not a teaching. Jesus was not out here teaching hate your neighbor. He literally said the opposite. He said, love them and pray for them. That's what he said. What I'm like, it's time for Christians in Indiana to say, this ain't it. We ain't about this. We don't agree with anything he says. He doesn't represent us. Because I'm like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
Tracy, if Jesus Christ fell out of the sky in front of these white Christian nationalists in Indiana, first of all, they would say, "Oh man, you didn't look like what I thought you would look like," and then they would say, "Man, you are weak. You are a p word. That stuff you're talking about is woke. Get out of here. We're gonna crucify you again."
Exactly. I'm like, dude. First of all, I'm going to stop calling them Christian nationalists. I'm just going to call them what they are, bigots. That's what they are. They are them getting to wear the term Christian and not exhibiting any Christ-like behavior. I'm gonna have to come up with something else to call them because it's not Christian. I'm like, you said this with your whole chest. And then he doubled down on it. He came back and defended him. I'm like, are you kidding me? Indiana, it's one goal of this. Wait a minute. Thea says something here I want to address because I'm going to address this. You are talking red letter Jesus, but they are preparing for revelation Jesus. You are deeply mistaking your adversary. No, I'm calling them what they are, not Christian. They just aren't. It's okay to hate again? Really? You never heard of John 3:16? That never came to your mind. You just out here to okay, it's okay to hate. But you notice what he didn't say. You notice he didn't put Judaism anywhere in there. He didn't say that was an anti demonic religion.
Oh, they like to tack that on sometimes because it is
Beckwith has
politically
never.
advantageous.
Yeah.
He doesn't, but that's a whole other can of worms, Tracy. We can talk about why the biggest supporters of Israel in this country are far right Christians. It's not because they love the Jewish people. It's because they need them all in one place because they think Jesus is going to return on a white horse carrying a sword and slay them all when that happens. Now, again, to the commenter's point, that he says we're not talking about red letter Jesus, talk about Revelation Jesus. I'm no theologian, Tracy. Maybe you can correct me, but Revelation Jesus ain't Jesus. That came hundreds of years after the time of Christ. I believe a lot of religious scholars think that John of Patmos, who is widely regarded as the author of Revelations, was probably hallucinating because of ergot poisoning. That's a spoiled bread. You can get mold spores in it, will cause you to trip and hallucinate. And they think that John of Patmos was hallucinating, and that's where these visions and revelations come from. That's not Jesus.
Wait a minute. He also says Judeo-Christian is Old Testament. Again, you are focused on what you want it to be, not who you are experiencing as true. All I know is he don't need your help, Michael Beckwith. If he was buried in a tomb, rose on the third day, he not needing you. He not needing you. You don't have to put rules in place. That's not how it works. It's not how it works. And I'm just like, we as Christians in India, we've got to step up and be like, nah, this is not who we are. This man doesn't represent us. He's not a part of us. We reject what he's saying. And just progressives, libertarians, independents in Indiana, we got to get these clowns out. They cannot be reelected. They cannot. I don't know what it is I'm going to do to make it sure it doesn't happen, but I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure that these two clown-faced idiots,
yeah, and Judeo-Christian as it was, like I said, it is an
that doesn't
invented
exist.
concept. That
Yeah,
did not
that's an
exist
invented concept.
throughout the entire history until about less than 100 years ago, and it was just to make things seem inclusive of Jewish folks, in service of white supremacy. Essentially, let's call it what it is.
Exactly. So I'm like, I don't take any of them because I'm like, well, they still believe it. You're debating how fake he is when you should be opposing him for being fake. I am opposing him for being fake. I'm definitely opposing him for being fake. And I'm saying, hey, other people need to be joining that rally. But we've got to make sure, I don't know how it happens. We got 2 years, Indiana, to figure out how to make sure this clown show don't get back in office. I don't know what it's gonna take. I don't know how it's gonna take it. I'm telling you what, well, I'm gonna regret this statement, but I'll say it. I might just vote Democrat to make sure that he doesn't get back in. I might just bite the bullet and just say, okay, because I can't with these two. They are the most ignorant, racist, homophobic, transphobic. I don't understand. I mean, I understand, but I'm just like, we deserve better. That's it. We deserve better than what we have in office right now. Because what we have now,
100%.
I'm like, Brom is an idiot. This isn't in conjunction with the Pride Month and
we even talked about that. Did you see, Tracy, that Andy Ogles, the congressman from Tennessee, essentially said the same thing? He posted last week on Twitter, True Social, or one of them stupid websites that, quote, homosexuality has no place in America. And then he said, Happy Nuclear Family Month, right? Now, certain Republican elected officials came out and called him out and said there's no place for that. Ted Cruz called him out and said, oh, well, homosexuality has always existed in the world and in America. Like, not exactly much of a defense, but Ted Cruz was like, hey, man, cut it out. Mike Lawler, a New York congressman in a very, purple district who's got his work cut out for him in November, defended the LGBT community. And where are folks calling out Mike Braun, who is essentially doing he diet Andy Ogles, right? Because Mike Braun can't commit to anything. He's a bigot, but he's a timid bigot.
Yeah, he's like, he wants to be the nice bigot. I mean, think about it. We have, and I still say, anybody in any other state. Oh, Nelson's in the house. Is there no third party socialized democracy to oppose the duopoly?
Not in Indiana.
Not in Indiana. I was gonna say not in Indiana. Yeah, we're a special kind of stupid. We're just special. I'm like, do you hear what you're saying? But the thing about Brom that just irks my nerves, I think redistricting is going to come back now that if they win the House.
Big if. They got an uphill battle, I think, by choosing these far right Republicans in a lot of those state Senate districts. They made themselves vulnerable to losing, I think. Spencer Deary in District 23 barely held on. He's going to have a challenge. And he won. And Greg Good in 38, he won. Casey Blundell running against him, support her, big fan. I got to see her yesterday. But the 5, 6 that lost their races to far right Republicans, those MAGA folks, they make it less likely that Republicans are going to hold on to those seats in November, especially if there is some kind of Democratic wave in this election. We have free and fair elections, knock on wood.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I'm like, when you draw up these maps, let's just say they got away with it. And they drew up Indianapolis, where it's now 4 districts. They split Indianapolis up. I don't always use Indianapolis, but yeah, it's the city I live in. It's the only city I know. Blah, 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 I deal with it. But anyway, if they split it up into 4s, there's no guarantee that all 4 of those won't go to Democrats. Like, you're basing it off of what it is now. But you're not basing it off of what could happen in 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. That population could very well change. And I always take solace in this. They could be literally drawing themselves out of office, which may make them think, oh, this isn't a good idea. Brom did it because his head is up Trump's butt, period. That's literally why he did it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. The smarter folks in the Indiana Republican Party knew that what was being proposed was a dummy mander. I mean, if you divide Marion County, Indianapolis, right along 38th Street, like they were trying to do, divide right through the heart of the black community in the city, well, you think you're, cutting out Andre Carson, but you may wind up with 3 or 4 Andre Carsons in the process.
But that's what I'm like. You may get more of him. That defeats your purpose. And then what happens if people get tired and they actually show up to which is what I hope. I always will say this. The way you fight gerrymandering is to get people to show up to the polls. It beats it every single time. Every time. It's just getting them to the polls is the difficult part. But if you can get them there, it beats it. But the thing with Brom, he was a terrible senator. He's a terrible governor. I don't think he wins re-election. I can't see it.
Mike Braun is also old.
He's 70. Like, he's 70 or 71.
I want to say he's 72, and he's still got a couple years left on his term.
His first one.
And you know,
I
by
mean,
all accounts, Micah Beckwith is intending to attempt to primary him in 2028.
wait a
Good luck
minute.
with that, buddy. But
Wait a minute. Hold on. That's a fight I want to see. Oh, I want to see this one. Oh, I want to see this one. I want to see this all because you know they don't like each other. You know they can't stand each other. I mean, that's just um um it. I want Beckwith to run for governor. Oh, I want him to. I want please do. Please. Let me tell you something. I will volunteer. Y'all know this is bad because y'all know I don't like the Democratic Party. If it got destroyed, I'd be in the streets celebrating. I will put all of that aside and say, you know what? Do you need a volunteer? Do you need somebody to hold a fundraising campaign for you? Do what else? What is it that you need? Oh, please, Beckwith, run. Please run. Please run.
and I would say theoretically he'd be easier to beat, but then you got to worry. This is the same calculation that Hillary Clinton made in 2016, right?
That's
They
true.
empowered Trump. They wanted to face him. They thought it was going to be a cakewalk, and then they wound up shooting themselves in the foot. They didn't even try that hard. They thought it was going to be so easy.
No,
And
they didn't try. The opposition is gonna have to try. Is gonna have to work anyway. I'm not saying don't do the work, but I just want him to run because I'm like, this dude said the 3/5 compromise led to the end of slavery. What? And then somehow, and this is what I could not understand why the concerned clerks did this. He should apologize. He already said he wasn't gonna apologize. Why are you asking? You don't ask the KKK because you apologize for being racist. You just point out and say that's racist. Oh my
oh
gosh.
yeah, he ain't going to apologize. And I think instead of asking him for apology, we should ask Micah to take a long walk off a short pier.
It's like get out of office. But if Beckwith runs against Brom, oh, that's one primary. I mean, I'm not gonna vote for either of them in the primary, but I want to see that one. Oh, I want to see that one so bad. Yes, that's what I want to see. Absolutely, positively, yes.
I hope they tear each other apart. It would be fun to watch and
It
fun to
would
cover.
it would be so fun. I'm just like for 2 years. I'm telling y'all, I'm gonna put it aside. I'm gonna take the Democratic Party makes me sick because they don't even try. I'm gonna put that aside because this man, he cannot get. I don't think Brom is gonna run again. I really don't because he's gonna try to run for he thinks most likely that the Republicans have a good chance in 2028. So maybe he's more working towards like oh, what do they call ambassadors position?
Maybe listen, Mike Braun. Listen, as one parent to another, just go enjoy time with your grandkids. Retire, get you a nice rocking chair, put it on the porch, spend some time with the family. You've had a long, interesting life in well, I'd say public service, but he ain't serving the public very well.
It really is. I'm like calling him a public servant. I'm like, really?
But yes, you've been a governor, you've been a U.S. senator. Call it a career. It's been a nice run. Hang it up, right off into the sunset. Here's a nice watch. Yes.
I wouldn't even give him the watch. I wouldn't give him the watch. He didn't get the watch. He didn't. Nelson, you are certainly right. Now we have more and more people waking up to the need for a socialized agenda. Indiana needs to step up and get someone in there. See, I'm glad somebody else is saying that because I'm like, you know what? I want to bury it. I'm giving you all the olive branch because I came with these two. I don't know who's worse, Brom. I would say Beckwith is worse than Brom because he's younger, But then Brom does something stupid like Nuclear Family Month, and then he just kind of, it's like, I can't decide who's worse. I'm like, well, he's terrible.
Yeah. But you don't want to accidentally wind up giving yourself a Governor Michael Beckwith, right? Like that would be even
it's like,
worse.
no, wait a minute. Yeah, I give him a Porsche if he gets him to leave. Yeah, maybe, yeah, maybe.
Mike Braun's a multimillionaire. He can afford his own Porsche. He's got his own helicopter.
Hey, he has taxpayers paying for his helicopter pass from his home in Jasper, which, why doesn't he live in the governor's mansion? That's what it's for. But hey, that's just me. Probably too many black people in Indianapolis. Yeah, I said it. I said what I said. I said what I said. But it's just our state. Every time I say, okay, we're gonna just slide under. We're gonna slide under. Nobody's gonna talk about Indiana. Boom. We get this. These two clowns. Here they come again.
It's something, Tracy. I've heard Indiana called the long middle finger of the South, and we certainly deserve that reputation sometimes, for sure.
We deserve it most of the time. But Scott, I'm not going to keep you all day because I went way longer than I thought I was. Can you tell us where we can find you?
Absolutely. Thank you, Tracy. And again, it's been a pleasure joining you. I always love getting a chance to spend these Sunday nights with you. Folks, if you like hearing from me, you can find me over at progressiveindiana.net. I host the Who's Left podcast live every Tuesday at 7 p.m. And then on Sundays at 10:30 a.m., I host Who's Left This Week, where I have two guests come talk with me about all of the week's current events. Today was packed. It has been super packed. There has not been a slow news week in a while. So please find me over there. You can find me on social media at Who's Left. That is HOOS Left, right there on the screen for you folks who are watching.
And as usual, I want to thank everybody, especially yesterday. And things, I hope you're still watching. The 70s had the best television series all time. It beats the 80s. It's always going to beat the 80s. But I want to thank everybody that joined me yesterday. But this Thursday, we are going to have an Indiana Green Party member that is running for office here in the state. I look forward to talking to him. Then we're going to follow that up with another person that's running in the state of Maryland for governor. So we're gonna have a whole lot of weeks coming up where we're interviewing candidates. I asked all the people with taste, and they say the 80s, they're lying. The 70s beat the 80s every day of the week, every single time. But I do want to mention again, please vote to donate to the drama camp. Like I said, I'm heading this is our very first drama camp that we're having for children in Indianapolis. And specifically targeting, not that it's limited to, but we're initially targeting Black children to get them involved in theater. I'm heading that up. I'll put the link up here real quick. We're trying to raise $3,500 so that we can have a great camp. Of course, if I get there, it is right there. So if you could do that, I would appreciate it. Thank you so much. Thank you, Scott. Thank you. Remember to like, share, comment, subscribe. Like, share, comment, subscribe. And lastly, like, share, comment, subscribe. I will see you this Thursday. I may be running a little bit behind, but I will be here as close to 7 o'clock as possible. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Tracy.
You're welcome. Thank